Last time on The Adventures of Dungeon Crawling, our brave heroes have made their way up the mountain in order to reach the dungeon hidden at the highest of peaks. This dungeon is the one that holds the legendary Key of Asherak, a key of one of the greatest inventors that ever lived. Now to return to what happened last session. After Claire had been freed from the shackles of the iron-fisted chain golem, they had swiftly made work of the enemies lying in the dungeon and have made a swift counteroffensive in order to take down the big guy, as with both spellcasting from the two mages and a high proficiency in using the bow and hiding in the corner of the dwarf, and there's two strong people who just hit things with swords. The enemy had soon fallen down and given us the key needed to proceed to the next door. Now, with a sweet taste of victory still fresh within their mouths, the group took the key and continued onwards to the next door corresponding to the key. Dodging the already located traps such as the spike bait and the pressure bait that activates an arrow trap, the group found what they were looking for at the end of a long and narrow corridor. Now, after Claire had said to be mindful of traps and to not trigger them, Astaire decided it was a good time to walk down this long and narrow corridor, tripping a tripwire as if by some divine punishment, which caused a trap to activate and spray down some acid on him. It wasn't very much damage though. After our group had licked their wounds by cleaning off the acid from Stadok, they had entered, well, more importantly, Nito had promptly entered the next room after seeing several 8-foot-tall humanoids with machetes working on something. Now, this might have been a dumb idea, but as the Marines say, it's not really a dumb idea if it works. He had stepped forth to the eyes of literally every creature there to make his presence known, as both Stadok, who had been at the door, and Claire wondered what the fuck he was doing. And before any of these golems could react, Nito simply said, "Get back to work," and with a voice of 100 managers, those words echoed, forcing all of the 8-foot-tall workers to turn away and get back to work, because you don't want to piss off the manager. Now, this display of command prompted a comment from Claire mentioning how Nito must have been a ship captain, as he was a pirate. He must have been a pirate captain.
What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor? What will we do with the drunken sailor early in the morning?
But Nito was quick to point out that he was in fact the vice pirate, and that someone else was the actual captain. Now, in this room they had found double cages, as well as some potions on the ground and a dude hooked up to a wall. The dude hooked up to a wall and his head was cut open and had his insides left somewhere, but that does not matter. What did matter was the 4 potions and the fact that there was a key in the room. A key in the room which was on the belt of one of these golems. Now, after a bit of discussion about what to do, the group promptly decided that they should use the 5-finger discount technique by sending in Wilhelm, the Great Thief, to go and steal the key. And so he did. He snuck up, he stole the key, and he disappeared. After acquiring the key and moving to the next door that was on the other side of somewhere, the 3 active adventurers have made it to another door, which they proceeded to open, only to find themselves making 3 dex saves, 1 each, as they just got Dark Souls'd by 3 ballistas in a random ass hallway. It was after we had been ambushed by these foul inventions of a trap maker's art that the 3 of us had garnered a genius idea. We would simply put in a javelin of lightning into one of these. A genius idea, I know, but we did not know what was beyond the door, so we need to send someone to investigate. And so, Nito volunteered. And as he crossed this square right here, he triggered yet another acid trap, which did not a lot of damage, but it was there. It did things. And then he moved slowly towards the door while we loaded up the javelin into the ballista. But then, as Nito opened the door, we were struck by the awe of this lad we had to face now. But, as we had prepared it, we had fired the javelin. Nito got prone as soon as he opened the door, and the javelin flew forward, sticking into the beast. And of course, with the lightning javelin, you get some lightning! For which Nitos had to make the 30 saving throw, which he succeeded, because all creatures within a line had to make it, despite the fact he was prone. And so, Nito engaged combat as he was the first in initiative order. Following him in his melee strikes, we had Claire, who opened up with a big open up the sky as a flame strike burned off Nito's eyebrows as he was at the edge of the range. But this, because the creature had advantage on its dexterity saving throw, he managed to succeed, taking minimal damage. After this, Stadok hurried forward to assist Nito, as did everybody else from this distance. Avery fired off a few of his spells. Creature, recognizing it had been shot from the hallway, hurried to hide in the corner as it took up 4 squares, which were represented by the 4 squares. In order to hide from this assault, Nito continued his repeated strikes. Stadok went forward through the door and attacked the beast. It was at this moment that the creature, the giant mechanical beast, had activated some sort of EMP that caused some sort of time-space distortion making both of our melee fighters feel
The giant enemy spider.
highly weakened in their melee capabilities. Not soon after this. Not soon after. Soon after this. Not soon after that. Everybody else had also joined the battle by jumping into the room to help their comrades that were under effects of the time-space distortion. I'm not doing a retake. The creature circled around, wanting to get a better shot at the spellcasters. But alas, it was no match for Wilhelm and his ability to hide in corners and shoot. And our capabilities to simply strike it down. We had placed many of our spells, many of our strikes onto it, even managing to somehow get rid of the effects of this time-space distortion he had placed on our fighters. And eventually, the beast had fallen down, scrambled, with the javelin still struck within its chest. Something was revealed. In the chest of this beast laid a safe, for which we sent Wilhelm. The crack, but an unlucky natural one, caused his professional thief abilities to not function as professionally. And so we had to resort to a more simple plan of opening the safe. Busting it open. Using brute force to open it. Open this safe, we have located yet another key. And that is where the session ended.